So this is my Nes Pc. Just gonna do kind of a brief overview of some of the things I've done in my mod. You can see up the front, right off the bat, you'll notice the power light and the power button actually do work. So I just have those soldered directly to the pins in the motherboard. I've also added infrared receiver. I don't know if you can really tell. It's kind of just bezeled in there. And you can see the controller wire is actually hooked up to an actual controller. So the ports on the front do still work, and the controller just gets emulated as a controller. You also notice on the front we have a CD or a DVD burner. Actually, it's a laptop drive, just a slimline serial ATA drive. Now that we have that up and running, I'll go over the back. See, it's basically just a normal or your standard motherboard header or back port that I cut and placed in there. It's got HDMI out, spots for keyboards, optical audio. It's got onboard wireless already, and the other cable that you see running out is actually the power supply. So the power supply is external from the actual motherboard. And if we open her up, you'll see the actual insides. So it's a mini ITX motherboard, a Zotac Ion ITX, I believe, which has a NVIDIA GPU on it, as well as a Intel Atom 330, I believe. 4 gigs of RAM. All the cables, all the USB devices are hooked up to a hub that I just have internal, and I shortened all the cables just by soldering them. I also kind of manually connected them to some of the USB pins. You can also see I have it taped up here, just the chip. That's from Retro USB. It allows you to wire these controller ports to a USB header, and then it just emulates a USB joystick. And that's what allows us to actually use the original ports. And you can see the original Switch hardware from the Nintendo in there. And underneath, you can notice the orange cable kind of slipping underneath it. There's a laptop 320 gig serial ATA drive just stuck underneath the motherboard. So to go over the UI that I'm using for the Nes Pc, I'm just using Windows Media Center with a few add-ons. The first one I'll go over is Media Browser. So I'm just using my Logitech Harmony remote to control this through the infrared port on the front. So Media Browser is a pretty neat app. It expands kind of on what the video and movie functionality of the original Media Center app did. You can see I have a list of movies here that I have on the computer. It pulls information like the movie title and rating and length and genres and stuff like that from IMDb automatically for you based on the title. There's a few different options for viewing as well. So you can do the normal cover flow layout. Thumbnail strips, stuff like that. There's a few different sorting options and stuff as well. So these are all movies on the hard drive. I'm going to go to Knowing, which is one of my only 1080 movies that I have on here right now. When you select it, it does different poster backgrounds and stuff like that. Gives you a synopsis from IMDb as well as some other information. You can look at the actors. You can get the images for the actors, but it takes up a bunch of room on your hard drive, so I opted not to. And I'm just going to hit play. And you can see it runs pretty well. Like I said before, the motherboard, the Mini ITX, has an onboard Intel Atom processor, but it also has a NVIDIA GPU and using some of the codecs I have installed, it actually supports the movie rendering offloaded onto the GPU, so it runs actually very, very smoothly. 1080p, the processor probably hits about 30% constant. I'm just going to go back here. For TV episodes, kind of the same layout, but the menu's kind of neat. So you have your posters for all the different episodes or series that you have on here. You can also break them down by season if you do have them separated into folders. And if you're trying to watch a whole series, it'll give you check marks for the files that you've already watched, so you can notice that. It also brings up a little kind of thumbnail of the episode, and if you select it, it does something very similar to what the movie ratings are. I also have a weather plugin. So using this, you can add as many cities as you want, and it'll just pull a weather service and display the information for you. See, right now it's -2 in Vancouver and -32 in Regina. Those poor bastards. Music, I'm just using the default music apps that come with Windows Media Center. They're actually pretty decent. So they'll give you a list of your artists, genres, different playlists, stuff like that. Just going to go back to artists here. Hit play all. So when you're playing, you can see it does all the cover arts in the background, which is kind of neat, and it scrolls them so there's no burn-in. Also, the menu options will go away here if you're just listening to music, and it will do some transitions to prevent any burning. You can also fire up to visualizations, which is pretty standard for any Media Center audio player. Again, all this stuff is being controlled by my remote. And the last cool thing to show, I haven't made a menu option for this yet, so it's just in the extra library, is MU Center. So we'll fire this up here. This is actually a list of every Nintendo game that's on, or Nintendo ROM I have on the system. If it does find matches in the database, it'll come up with cover art and stuff like that. There's a few clones and hacks and stuff in here, so some of them don't have art. I also have a mini keyboard that I can use for navigation. It comes in handy when you're trying to get to a specific game. So I'm just going to type Super Mario. Oh, actually I just fired up Alien. That'll work. And then, as we said before, I have the NES controller wired up, and that's perfectly functional. I've never played this game before, so it might be a little weak. You can see it runs pretty well. Of course, it's a Nintendo emulator, so there's not too much to run, but... And then from here, using the remote, you can just hit Start, or whatever your green Windows Media Center button would be. And that'll take you back to your emulator, or your game listing, rather. That's basically it. One other thing I can show is I have the Shoutcast plugin as well, so internet radio. Just another radio option here. And this will go out and just pull the Shoutcast radio station list and allow you to listen to any of them. The one at the bottom is the last one I listened to, so it'll automatically load that. It also checks for updates every time you fire up the app. And this is all done using the onboard wireless. So ask me if I want to update the new stations, listen to some Miley Cyrus. Oh yeah. And you see you have your option of different genres and stuff here. So yeah, that's about it.